Today is going to be part 2 of our interview with TJ Toy Hunts, or Tyler Russell. We're going to be talking more about Mythic Legions today and some autographs, getting those at the cons. They make me feel awkward. They don't make him and Jordan feel so awkward. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. But hopefully you enjoyed part 1. If you haven't watched that yet, go back and check that out and enjoy this episode. I was gonna say it's such a slippery slope when you start getting into something else, because like I said with Cosmic Legions, I was like, oh, I just like that one guy looks cool, and then like I'll get like a sidekick for him, and then I was like, well, if I've got two, then I should probably get like a villain, like somebody to fight against him, and then I might as well get the next, and then it's like I'm gonna have the whole wave in a minute. So
oh, Dakota, you're freaking me out because Four Horsemen is actually setting up their actual booth at PowerCon next weekend, and I have like $600 that I've saved up. So like I'm gonna get some mythics, but I really did you get the big green guy? What is it, Slog? I think
no, he'll be at PowerCon. I got the Kragnar, which is kind of the same body, same size.
How do you like? Oh my gosh, dude, that's like a half giant scale, right?
Yeah, same as the. I gotta. We're back here. So yeah, about same. He's a bit like thicker, like his upper body's like a bit more jacked.
Oh, dude.
But he's substantial.
I wish we were in that. I wish we were in the movie The Ring right now, so I could like you just reach out, grab it out,
just grab it.
Oh yeah, that Kragnar looks awesome, man. I think
the Sphexian,
one of those that
I haven't opened him up yet, but like after seeing the colors on him, I was like, he's probably one I'm gonna have to pick up.
See, I'm a customizer, and that's what I love about Mythics too, is they give you the option for like artistic freedom. And the builder figures, I've gotten the builder skeletons, and I did this like really cool rustic paint on it. I've sold a couple, like it's a $45 figure, and I've sold 3 of them for like 125 because I've spent like 3-4 hours doing that paint. And people on I don't know if you guys are on the Mythic Legions Cabal on Facebook. So okay, so they the first one I put on there, I was like, 125 seems a lot, but my wife was like, you worked hard and it looks really good. So I was like, okay, I'll leave it. 2 minutes, it was gone. I was like, whoa. So then I started painting more and getting into like other paint schemes for different figures. But the Cosmics, I know they have the 3 kind of builder figures in the first set. I really I want to try and get in. Oh, you have one down there?
I got one down here. Yeah.
Dakota's like,
I told you, I got one, and then it just spiraled.
Oh man.
So I got this one. And I've seen some people do some really cool custom paint jobs with him. So I only have one, so I don't know if I want to, because even by himself, just the white is kind of like a sparkly white. Like it doesn't show up on camera very well. Even like their promo pictures, you can't tell as cool as it is. But even those skeleton builders, like me and Jordan had an episode kind of talking about like our faction favorites. And I think he was like his number one character out of everything was the skeleton builders as his favorites.
So yeah, I think that was the first Legion I got, was a skeleton builder, and I was just super impressed by it. Just for that to be like, this is the builder, like not not even a one with crazy deluxe anything, but it was like, if that's a baseline, that's really cool. So yeah, I saw you just
posted a short of opening up the deluxe orc. And that was one of the first ones I had gotten. And I was super, like, when Jeremy was like, oh yeah, it's like one of the builders. We don't put that much like paint details on it. And it's like, looking at it, you're like, okay, there's not much paint on it, but like, it's similar to the Cosmic here, where it's got like that sparkly, like, but not like, it's not like a Taylor Swift glitter or anything, but it's just kind of like, there's more to it than just like, oh, here's just a gray figure that's like, you're supposed to paint it. It's like, no, this is a good figure standing alone, and then you can also pop and swap or paint or whatever, and it's a fun base.
Yeah. No, see, I don't have the I think it's like a knight that you have behind you with the wings, the lady. She looks really cool, and that's the only figure I've seen with like that bright white scheme. And I've really wanted to paint. I even thought about doing one of the skeletons like a really bright white airbrush. But you know, if you get that builder you just showed, then oh yeah, see you got some. Oh, those looks awesome.
Those are some that haven't you customized some of those,
so
Dakota?
the white and the black demon were custom heads that I did.
Yeah.
Then the white one is parts from Varg and Dark Templar. And then the black demon back there is from Black Krampus and I believe the Furious Four. Some of those red parts. Man. And then yeah, just painted the heads up.
That is really cool.
And then you were talking about Gadriel back here too.
Yeah, see, she's like the only one that I've seen that has that pure white. And even then it's like, you know, there's some blue thrown in there with some bronzish gold, which is super I like the head on the chain. That's pretty solid. You know, I really like that, but in my collection, I don't have any bright white. So I think if I did get that builder and I just had the one, I would just leave it because it adds such a dynamic. There's, you know, there a lot of them kind of blend in because they're that like, you know, I don't know how to like the mythics type theme. You know, the gladiators, the knights, they're more darker colors, and the skin tone is like it's flesh, but it's kind of darkened and airbrushed or whatever. So the white just adds such a dynamic to it, and it'll really stand out. And I don't know if I have any that you look at and you go, oh, your eye goes straight to it, you know? So I did recently get, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the big elephant from Seventh Kingdom, which was,
I saw that.
Yeah, Four Horsemen's first.
Those
I guess that was
awesome.
Their first brand that they did themselves and started making. But yeah, I found that at a show. I can't remember where. I think it was Fanboy actually, like a month or so ago, last month. And the guy had 150 on it. And I was like, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I spent my money for the day, but I should be able to get it from you tomorrow. He's like, well, you know, if you come into the show, we'll have it. And I said, well, oh no, I'm sorry. It was 120, not 150. And I was shocked at that price too, because I've seen it for like 220.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, well, can we figure something out? Let me get your number. I'll give you mine, whatever. And sure enough, he gave me his number, and I asked him, I said, before I leave, can I ask you, would you take 100 cash if I bring it to you tomorrow? He goes, David, what do you think, Tom? You 100? Yeah, we can do 100. So I was like, oh, thank you. So ended up meeting them like outside the convention center, because Fanboy, I can literally walk to the convention center from my house, and yeah, so it's cool. But I went over there and met him and got it, and I was contemplating, like, do I open it up? But the card, it's an older one, so it's kind of bent, and there was like a tear at the bottom. I was like, take it off. And I ripped it, and I went, oh, it still hurts. Because that's what I love about Mythics too. You know, while you turn it around and slide those little pieces of plastic off, and there you go. So that's one of the really cool things about the Legions is you can do that, and it looks like the Cosmics too. You just cut a little bit of tape and slide it out.
Yeah,
so and that's
a little bit more just all cardboard around, but yeah, I like the back of like see all the figures on there. That kind of reminds me more of like Toy Biz days of like getting the Marvel Legends or like Power Rangers, and they would like show you like, oh, you got to collect the rest here.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Mythics it was weird because there's, for like 4 different factions, you have a figure from 4 different factions, and on the back of it, it'll have the exact same card with the exact same pictures. So, you know, you can't buy one from each and go, oh, I need, you know, checklist it. You have to just look on the website, which they make it easy because they have the factions and all the, But yeah, no, that's really cool. I'm sure I'll have to send you some pictures after PowerCon. Be like, look what I did.
Yeah.
Because Cosmics, I think I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do it.
So what's on your hunt list for this? I mean, at least Legions and Cosmic Legion wise, like what are the ones you're like, I really hope they have these, and then the other ones are like, I'll see what happens when I get there.
So the Kragnar for sure I was looking at, and I'm glad you showed that, because seeing like the size of it, and I mean I've seen pictures, but like holding it is different.
Right.
So that one I'm kind of on the fence. I think it's Slog, I don't know, but the big green guy.
Yeah, the like dragon head. Or wait.
Yeah.
Oh, Slog is not.
Oh,
He's
no.
like more of the like fatter. That one.
Yeah.
Right.
That big green guy. So
Yep.
I'm on the fence with that one because it looks like he has, maybe 4 or 5 points of articulation, which it's not 1995 anymore. So
Right.
I'm kind of like trying to steer clear of, but
And he's the most
also,
expensive one too, right?
yeah. So I
Yeah.
think at the booth, he's probably 80. And then
Okay.
online resell, all that, it's like 120.
Right. Okay.
And I'm already on the fence. I will not spend 120 on it. If it's there for 80 and I have the extra, then I'll probably pick it up, just because it is the first one I looked at like I want it. But I do have 3 of the trolls. I think there's 4 separate. I don't have the stone troll, but I do have 3 of the trolls, and they also only have 5 points, but they're really big. So that is justifiable. I don't know exactly how the actual 4-H booth does it when they set up, but I know the street team that they had at Heroes Con, which is like a smaller setup, each day they'll have like a box of older figures, which is where I got the Barbarian Builder. It's like 110, 120 resale, and they had them there for 50. But they would have that one along with like 7 other figures that you could get online resell for, $80 to $120. But they're all $50. So I was like, why are they so cheap? They're like, well, these come from us. These aren't things that we had to, buy. It kind of eventually you've made your money back for the molds. They keep making new ones, but they have those and they're selling them for 50, but out of those 7 figures, you can only pick 1 per day. So I grabbed up a Barbarian Builder, and I was like, this thing is really, really cool. I highly recommend that one. And then my wife was with me, and she doesn't care about mythics. So I said, hey, honey, can you do me a favor and grab that one, which was the female Barbarian? And she's like, yeah, whatever. So we went up there and got away with it, because technically we are 2 people.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
My buddies that are going with me to PowerCon, it's me, my friend Caleb, and Tyler. We're driving out there. Tyler's not a Mythics fan at all. He's like, yeah, I mean, they're cool, but I wouldn't buy them. So I'm like, guess what you get to do? You get to pick up 1 each day for me.
Right.
So instead of 3 through the weekend, because I'll be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I should be able to get 6 of the older ones. But
awesome.
that's just if I can find the ones that I really want. Because if you want it, why spend double or whatever later on? I see you have the Headless Horseman back there too, and I'm hoping that they have that one along with the Monkey King. Good Lord, my friend, look at you. I don't get jealous often. Those are 2 that I was like, I really want to get my hands on those. The Headless Horseman, God, it looks so good.
That was, I think, my favorite, at least as far as I can remember, like my favorite like opening experience of an action figure, because like the box is kind of like their other Figura Obscura ones, where it's like the magnetic, like kind of like the backdrop is like slip cover, so you take that off and then pull it out, and like I got the horse with Lady Averona. I think I took the like pumpkin head off and like put the black cat head from, was that the heads pack this past? Yeah, that's past head pack. And I think it's a great figure. If they've got it, it's definitely worth getting. I've been trying to convince Jordan to get it. I think I'm trying to talk him into the like retailer.
Tempted by when I saw the orange one. Remember?
Yeah, that's the next one they're coming out with, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's like the retailer. You get it on like Entertainment Earth. Well, I don't know if they do that. Big Bad Toy Store or other places like that. So yeah.
Jordan, where's your Mythic Legion collection?
No, my collection is not nearly as vast as Dakota's, so it's not as impressive to display. But I do have the Moose. I love the Moose.
The Moose is cool.
I put him with. I have a Kratos NECA. that for some reason I love putting Kratos with the moose with the giant antlers. Just looks cool. So
no, yeah,
I got a couple
cool.
skeletons, and you know I'm there's some that Dakota usually will get into the line, and then he's kind of that guy who's like, dude, you got to join me here. So you know, he's the one who will start to usually branch out and then pull me in. So
yeah,
you know, we're getting there.
Trying to get him into like the AWOCs back there too. I can understand if you're not as into the AWOCs. I just love like monkeys and gorillas, and so that's up my
Tyler,
line.
are you familiar with Savage Crucible?
I am. So I wanted to do the Kickstarter. I really did. And I was like, well, I think at that point I was pre-ordering the newest Mythic Legions line. I said, well, I kind of have to pick and choose. But so let's be real with any company that's like, here's our first line. There's always, you know, QC issues, there's paint app issues. So I'm kind of going to let that mull over, and Savage is going to find their flaws. And I mean, fingers crossed for them. They seem like super awesome people. So hopefully, you know, I'm hoping that they won't have crazy issues, but it's just kind of inevitable. And I kind of want to figure out what they are, because if people are unpackaging them, like, well, the arm just fell off, the peg's broken, you know, the paint apps rubbed all over the box. I don't want to deal with that, because I'm very understanding, and I'm kind of like, well, you know, it's a newer company, but also if you're paying $45-50 for a figure and the arm falls off, you can't help to be just like, dude, what is happening? Because 4-H, you know, if you get a figure like that from them, you're just like, well, I gotta email them, and
right?
you know, they're gonna fix it for you. But Savage is so new that it's kind of, you're not too sure yet. So I kind of want to let that run its course.
I was just curious. That's a line that Dakota had found, and then I did take the plunge with him, and we both got some of those on the Kickstarter. So that's what's becoming. Cool. What is that? When is that, Dakota? Is that later this year? Is what they said, or no?
That seems like a fast turnaround, but maybe
I thought it was next year sometime. I think that's another reason I was like, I mean, I've probably got time to get back on the bandwagon.
And it seems like they're like, when they're putting them up for like their retail stuff, it's not that much more expensive than what the Kickstarter was. So
yeah,
that's one that we both took a bit of a swing on. So I didn't know if you got to check those out at all. But I'm a big, like, you know, Cthulhu, Lovecraft type. I love Atticus Doom, so they had the Harbinger of the Abyss that's like an octopus man, and I just knew I had to get that guy. So
that one gave me not Lord of the Rings, Pirates of the Caribbean type vibes.
I could see that.
So but I really liked the initial figure that they, I guess, kind of like their mascot figure was the lizard guy.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, dude, imagine like the articulation. You can get him in some crazy, like, you know, Spider-Man type poses, and his head's
I got
up
some
looking
fish
at
guys. Dakota's got those dino lizard looking man.
So I think, I don't know, my hope is that it's, because it kind of scratches that itch of Mythic Legions where it's like knights and creature type things, but I'm hoping it's got more of that like articulation that you can just do, kind of like you were saying, those crazy poses, which like Mythic Legions, they pose, but they're not like a Marvel Legends type of articulation.
Yeah. So I was thinking, from looking at them, I'm feeling like it'll be kind of a Storm Collectibles type articulation, but thinner plastic, like either SH or Mafex is what just from kind of the pictures that I had seen. That's what I'm expecting, I guess.
I was kind of thinking Mafex too. I just didn't want to get my hopes that high. So but yeah,
I really want to show you guys my collection there. I'm not sure if I unplug this mic, I'm not sure if it'll if I'll have audio, but
we can, we're recording, so we can always edit and fix it if it's not.
Let me I'm gonna run this in here real quick then. I'm in here. It's like the shelf up top is where I put with all the big horses and stuff. I don't know how well my
camera is. Skellies, I love them.
some random
there's the trolls.
Random Last of Us figures. And this guy hanging up, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Made him a little swing out of his staff.
Sweet.
Yeah, there's Hot Toys and NECA turtles.
Very nice.
All kinds of nerdy stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them in here that I really enjoy. And there's a lot of them that I didn't think that I would like as much, but after opening them and setting them up, it just they're just, some of them, I don't know, kind of gave me, I don't know how to explain it. It was really exciting opening some of those up and getting the articulation and the quality control and everything, seeing how good it all was actually.
Yeah. And I don't know, I feel like that's kind of the thing where Mythic Legions shines, where other places like Hasbro kind of fall short of, like, you get a Mythic Legion in hand and you're like, whoa, this is way better than I was expecting it would be. Because like I think I ordered the All-Stars 5+ all in and was like, oh, this will work because I only want like, 4 or 5 of them out of the wave, and then I'll sell the rest and be able to make my money back and kind of get like one figure for free type of thing.
Yeah.
And then I get them in hand and I'm like, actually, I think I'll sell one of these and keep the rest. Whereas like Hasbro, I'll get it and I'll open it up. I'll be like, oh, I can't wait. It's the new this. And then this is soft and gummy and this is not that great. And so
I've had a sour taste for Hasbro in the past little bit. You cannot find anything, so the only time you can get something is if you're paying aftermarket, and that may be subjective to where you live, but like I said, I would travel to 6 different Walmarts in a day and find nothing. So there's that, but also I don't feel like they're doing too much more to the figures to make it jump in price like they have. I saw Cobb Vanth and a Cad Bane two pack at Target yesterday, and it was like $55. Like I just don't see the amount of money in that. And one Legion is usually about 45 to 50, but I just feel like they look better. In my opinion, they're just cooler. The paint apps are way better, and they're like Legos. They're like action figure Legos. You just pop them all apart and then throw all these pieces together and have whatever, you know what I mean? So I just think that as far as, so when I talk to people and we talk about collections, they're like, what does your primary collection consist of? I was like, well, I mean, I have a little bit of everything just because, through the years I've collected what I like. And now I'm to the point where I'm only doing certain things. So I'm like Hot Toys and Mythics, and they're like, oh, so you're like a high-end collector. Like, no, I'm just like super irresponsible. So, I just think that I always heard for years, Hot Toys are king in the 6 scale. And then for the 12 scale, you have I guess Mezco is like 12 scale. It's a little bit smaller, but Mezco and Mythics. And I have an old man Luke over here fighting with a older Hulk that looks really cool, but I just didn't get too into Mezco. I had a Spider-Man and the Wolverine, but I just didn't like them as much as some of the other stuff, so I kind of cut it there.
Yeah, I always feel too scared. I feel too scared to own the Mezcos because it's like I don't want to rip the stitching. I don't want to like break something because it's expensive. It's like if I break a Marvel Legend, it's like, that's $20. I'm not happy about it, but I'm also not out $150.
And I've stopped pre-ordering Hot Toys. I haven't pre-ordered one in probably 4 or 5 months, and they've come out with a lot. I know that's like, it's been 5 months, but no, it's been they've released a lot in those 5 months. And Bill that I order through at Comics Exchange, I owe him, so we do like the payment thing. I don't really have to pay for it until it comes in, but I pay him however much I can throughout the period of time it takes for those to get here. But I owe him a lot of money, and by a lot I mean like 1,200 or so.
Okay.
And that's just for the pre-orders that I have out already. And for some reason he doesn't get them until a lot later. Like the Wanda from WandaVision, she's been out for like 5 months or something. And he's like, nope, I don't see any tracking or anything yet. So I'm like, dude, Bill, get what is going on. He's like, I don't know. But I also think it depends on when the shop orders them.
Sure.
So I think he just procrastinates and he's like, oh, it's the last day. So like, Bill, I'm glad he does it though, because I don't have to pay him just yet. So
right.
And I told him before, I hate owing people money. He's like, oh, Tyler, don't worry about it. Just give me whenever you get a chance. It's just pay little by little. It's fine. I'm like, okay, here's $20. He's like, well, that's a dent in the $2,000 you owe me.
Right.
So yeah, I just stopped with Hot Toys because of that, the stitching, and it's just each Hot Toy figure I have is pretty much in the same pose they were when I got them, because I don't want to go in there and start touching. And I had long fingernails at one point in my Ahsoka from the Clone Wars. I was doing a review, and during the review video, and you can probably tell because I accidentally scratched her face and got like a little bit, I scratched it, and I paused in the video and I was like so pissed, but I was like, I don't want to edit this out. So,
right.
and if you look at the backside, so
there you go.
But that's the kind of thing you do, and you're like, oh, that's like for that type of head sculpt, that's probably $70-$80 I've got to pay to get a new one. I'm not going to, because I don't care that much. I can't see it, but that just. I've had the Mythics. They're on top of the IKEA detops. I've had those guys go, and I'll get home and I'm like, where's his sword at? It's just like all the way across the room, but it's no big deal, because if they do, break, it's just like the I don't know, the wrist pops off or something, which goes right back on. So it's cool. Yeah. I understand the Mezco thing.
Yeah. Maybe the last question on like collecting and like con going. How do you try to get autographs of like, because I know you got a bunch of comics back there, or like even figures or something, but I just remember the last con I was at, I was like, I gotta be done with getting autographs, because this is just so awkward to be like, will you write your name on my comic book? But
yeah.
I mean, it would be different if it was Stan Lee, but it's like, how do you feel about that? Or like, do you try to collect autographs at all?
So I'm a very I'm an extroverted person. I've never been like, I mean, I guess I used to be kind of like, I don't want to ask, you ask. Now I'm just like, they're people. I am who I am. It doesn't matter. I'll go up and I'm like, so Jason Mewes, for example, I've met him 3 times now from Jay and Silent Bob. I've met him about 3 times, and he doesn't remember me. He doesn't know who I am. He sees 1,000 people a day. So the last time I went up there, I was like, hey, what's up, man? I saw you at Lexington Comic-Con, and I was gonna come back and get a clip of the video, but I ended up spending that extra $30, so I couldn't come do it. So here I am. He goes, oh, they're like the YouTube guy. I was like, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, because I gave him one of my cards. I was like, hey, check it out. He never scanned it. So he's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do it. So I pay, the picture's $30. So I give him $30, and I was like, can we do a little video for the YouTube? And he's like, what's up, guys? It's Jason Mewes here at Fanboys. And I don't know if you guys have seen Zach and Mary make a porno with Seth Rogen, and there's like I don't know how your podcast, like, what's the maturity level, but there's some sexual content in there, and he's like, yeah, let's do this, and he starts doing it with me, and I was like, what just happened? I was like, that was so cool, and like the best $30 I've ever spent. So stuff like that, usually you don't have to spend money to get, to meet the people. But I do have like a Ryan Otley that does the Invincible covers. He was at Comics Exchange a couple months ago, and I got one of his Virgin prints up here that it came with a free signature. And I was like, Otley's a big comic artist, so I'll do that. And my wife, for my birthday, for like 4 or 5 years in a row, took me to Walker Stalker Con, which is a Walking Dead convention that was in Atlanta for a while. Excuse me. Um, they had we had met pretty much everybody from the cast of The Walking Dead except for Jeffrey Dean Morgan, because that was towards like the end of our con going, and that the whole thing shut down because there was a lot of crap that went down with the convention runners themselves. But we met pretty much everybody there, and we got 22 signatures on my McFarlane Walking Dead figures.
Wow.
So paying for the signatures, it's a crazy concept that you can go, here's, $80, here's $100, let me get you to write on my action figure that if I got a dent in the corner, I'd be super pissed about. Scribble on that, and here's money to do it. But it also, depending on what it is, sometimes it can up the value, sometimes it just makes for a really cool display piece. And I think that sometimes it's worth it depending on what it is. If I had the chance to meet Margot Robbie, I've got a Suicide Squad Harley Quinn in there from Hot Toys, and if I met her, I would 100% want her to like sign the base of it. I think it's a black base, so like sign it in a silver Sharpie or something. I think that would be awesome, and it just adds a lot to it. But I think getting signatures, it's cool. I've got a bunch on different things throughout the years. I can't really think of Jeremy Bullock, the guy that wore the Boba Fett outfit in Return of the Jedi. I think it was Return. So he unfortunately had passed away, but a couple years before he did, he was a fanboy and had the 300th edition Boba Fett figure. I don't know who made that, but I got his signature on it. It was really cool. The guy that played Bib Fortuna, he literally signed it, Tyler, and he said something, 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 and wrote out De Wadawanga, and I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I think I like getting signatures if I can afford it, and it's it makes sense to get. But also, it's really cool just to make those connections and kind of meet the people. Because I know a lot of people are shy to do that, and they're like, I don't want to, or they don't want to wait in the line, which I completely understand. We waited 4 hours was the longest to meet Norman Reedus. That was insane. So, some people don't want to wait in the line. Some people don't want to pay the money, but it's cool just to meet the people if you can. The guy that played Cad Bane was at Fanboy, and we kind of just walked right up to his booth because there wasn't really many people there. And I didn't even know he was going. So like 2 months before, it was the episode of Mandalorian. Was it Mandalorian or Book of Boba?
Or Boba Fett? Yeah.
Yeah, Book of Boba.
Yeah.
So as soon as that came out, I was like, oh, this Cad Bane is the best. This rendition, I love it. It's so cool. So I put it on my background. I was like, oh my gosh, dude, I didn't know you were going to be here. Check out my background. I didn't do this for the show. He was like, oh, that's really cool, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I was like, you did a really good job, dude. The makeup was awesome and you sold it. And that's just cool conversations, but
kind of the experience there, it's unique interactions. And like you said, kind of having them sign something. It's like, this is something that is more unique to my collection. It's like, this might be something that just I have, or that exact item being signed. So I think that's definitely cool.
Yeah. And if you have like a centerpiece, like your Mythic Legions, you would have a bunch of 6-inch on this side, 6-inch here, and like a troll in the middle. If you had that troll signed by, I don't know, the guy that like played the troll or whatever, then it would be cool. If it was, I don't know, if it was different, like a big Boba Fett, you had Jeremy Bullock sign it. I just think that would be cool for like a centerpiece. I just went a little overboard throughout the years and got tons of centerpieces that I don't have room for.
Sure.
So yeah,
cool.
That's cool. Have you guys gotten signatures and stuff?
Yeah, I've got some, not anybody too. I got Jeff Loeb's at this past New York Comic Con. Got him to sign the Long Halloween like AMC #1 special thing that we got for going to watch the new Batman movie.
Oh, cool.
I got some other ones but that's kind of the thing, is like all the ones I've gotten are kind of when we were going to New York Comic Con, I was like looking up everybody and I was like, oh, Jordan, I brought all these comics to like, and he was kind of like, well, Dakota, you don't really always get to like the inker to sign your stuff, or like the person that like got the coffees. Those kind of folks don't usually sign the books. It's not going to bring you much value. So I was like, oh, okay. I was like, but
well, I think there are some things that we met one time, or I was at a Chicago con. They had the guy who did the covers for the Marvel Zombies. If you follow those at all, but like those painted ones where they're kind of homages to the old covers. So he signed some stuff. One time I got him to do, I know it's in storage somewhere, but a sketch that was really cool that he just did for free because we were just there chatting with him. So
wow.
That was cool. I did get a Stan Lee autograph, obviously before he passed, which would be more impressive if it was after. But that was one that I was willing to shell out because I'm like, Stan Lee, I gotta get something signed by him.
Yeah, no,
I have
wild.
Christopher Lloyd signed my Back to the Future poster.
That's cool.
That's one of my, grail pieces. So I'm still working on getting a nice frame for that. But yeah, it's fun. Just because, like you said, you oftentimes as they're signing, you get a little interaction or some kind of conversation, and you're like, that person's. Oh, Jason David Frank did a selfie. I didn't pay it for anything. I just went up and said, I just wanted to meet you, because you were supposed to pay for a signature or a photo. And I was like, I just wanted to, meet you, man. And he's like, all right, you got a phone? It's like, yeah, it's a good picture. So then he took a selfie with me and my nephew, which was pretty cool. So
JDF is actually notorious for that. I've actually seen that when I've waited in the line to meet him, and we've seen him a couple times, but I think the second time I had met him, my brother and I were in line at Fanboy, and my little brother was like, oh my God, it's the Green Ranger. I'm like, dude, it's the White Ranger. I'm like, it's Lord Draken. Like, this guy is awesome.
Yeah.
So I dressed up as a Jedi, and I was like, can you hold this for the picture? So I've got this purple lightsaber, and he's just like holding it. And I was like, oh, dude, yeah, White Ranger with a purple lightsaber.
Yeah,
Look out,
he
everybody.
was such a cool dude. I mean, that was probably one of my favorite, honestly, Comic-Con experiences. Just getting to chat and be like somebody who is so into like the fandom, like was so like, you guys are kind of what makes me want to come and do this stuff, because you're the fans. So that's always cool when you get to see a creator or somebody who is that passionate about the material, like in the way fans are, because you can kind of tell the people who are like, I'm just here because I want to make some money, but and then the people who are like, I'm here because you guys, make this stuff possible. So that's always neat for me.
Yeah, there's a big difference that you can see in people where their managers are like, hey, publicity, to the people like Jason David Frank that are like, no, like I want to go to Fanboy, and Comic-Con's coming up next week, New York, and then San Diego, and then I want to go to Heroes. So those guys just, they enjoy being in that environment, I think, rather than feeling forced to be there. You can really tell. So it's definitely nice to meet people like JDF that are very into the whole thing. And it's like I said, it's the community of it all. So when they're into it, it makes you more into it. You see the people getting pictures ahead, and he's like talking to them, and you're like, dude, this line is so worth waiting in. We get to actually like have a conversation rather than being like, next.
Yeah,
right. So no, that's really cool. Yeah, that's neat.
I remember one of your, Jordan, like in, I think it was either early high school or maybe it was even middle school, when you and your family went to Chicago Comic-Con, and you were like, like you had kind of like your picture montage on Facebook, and you're like, oh, we found this like homeless looking guy with a lightsaber outside our hotel. And then the next day you're like, turns out that guy was Chewbacca.
Yeah, it was Peter Mayhew. But it was just this like, he just had he's passed now, but he had that, long scraggly hair, and and we were just like, oh, he's got a lightsaber walking stance. And then we saw him the next day at the booth, and we're like, oh, you're Peter Mayhew. So
I met him at the second ever Star Wars convention. It was in Indianapolis. My dad had taken me to that, he took me to that, sorry. And I think it was like 99, 2000, 2001, something like that. But it was my first ever convention, and that is where, like, I literally have chills thinking of it right now. My wife and I are talking about going to Star Wars Celebration in Japan in 2025, which that's a shot in the dark, because that's a lot of money we'd have to save. But yeah, I told her, she's a big Star Wars fan too. I was like, you have no idea what fandom is until you walk in, and then as soon as you walk in, it's like and the doors are opening. There's like stormtroopers on the doors. You're greeted by like 10 of them that are standing at attention like this for you to walk through, and just, you have like, you know, life-size ships. I literally have chills thinking about how insane that is. That is the best convention you will ever go to, and I don't know how much it's changed since I was like 12 or whatever, but it's so, oh man, it's crazy. I literally don't have words for how amazing it is. Just go when you can, I guess, because it's totally worth it.
And you're not going to get those feelings going to your Target and Walmart, so
yeah, that's right.
Make sure you go to your conventions and get the chills.
There's a lot of feelings I get when I go into Target and Walmart. I'm like, oh, look at that guy. He's just like wearing a diaper, walking around like, he's got Pedialyte. And I was like, what's that guy's story?
True.
Probably a toy collector.
I was going to say, I feel like you can almost see that at some conventions too.
Yeah, you can.
Nice. All right. Well, I hope everybody either learned some things or just enjoyed some storytelling. Like I said, if you want to follow Tyler, I'm going to link his stuff down below. Maybe have some cards popping up as we were talking. So make sure you go and subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's got giveaways going. We've got giveaways going. So subscribe, like, share, and stay strong.